Andrew Cunanan. Andrew Cunanan lived his whole life pretending to be someone bigger than he was. He didn't just lie, he built entire worlds out of fiction. He grew up in San Diego smart, sharp, and always performing. His father ran from the country after financial trouble. His mother struggled on her own. Andrew learned early that the only thing he could control was the way he presented himself. He had a near-perfect memory. He could shift personalities in seconds. He used charm like a weapon. In high school, he was known as the kid who showed up in expensive clothes, told dramatic stories, and acted like he was destined for a life of luxury. He even got voted least likely to be forgotten, which now feels like a warning nobody understood. As a young adult, he drifted into wealthy circles in California. Older men funded his lifestyle. Apartments, dinners, travel, designer clothes. People believed his stories because he told them with confidence. One week he claimed he was a model, the next week a businessman, the next week connected to high society. None of it was real, but the fantasy kept him afloat. By the mid-90s, that fantasy was collapsing. His relationships ended. His money dried up. People were calling out his lies. He felt rejected, exposed, and furious. He built his identity on control, and now he was losing all of it. In the months before the murders, Andrew told multiple friends he was going to do something huge, something that would make people remember him forever. They thought he was joking. He wasn't. In April 1997, he traveled to Minneapolis. The pressure, the lies, the anger, it all snapped. His first victim was Jeff Trail, a former Navy officer and one of the few friends who actually knew the real Andrew. They were arguing over drugs, money, and Andrew's unstable behavior. Inside the apartment of architect David Madsen, Andrew beat Jeff to death with a claw hammer. The brutality showed pure rage, not panic, not fear, but personal fury. 2 days later, Madsen became the second victim. Andrew took him out of the city and shot him near a lake. To this day, nobody knows if Madsen went willingly out of fear or if he was forced, but his death showed that Andrew was accelerating fast. From there, Andrew drove to Chicago and murdered Lee Miglin, a respected real estate developer. This killing was vicious. Found, stabbed, beaten, left in his garage. There's no confirmed connection between them, but here's the secret most people don't know. Investigators believe Miglin's murder was Andrew acting out of a fantasy of control he could never achieve in real life. This wasn't random, it was domination. Andrew stole Miglin's Lexus and fled east. In New Jersey, he murdered William Reese, a cemetery caretaker, shooting him once to steal his truck. Reese wasn't part of Andrew's inner world. He was simply a target of convenience, proof that Andrew no longer cared about anything but staying ahead of the manhunt. By this point, Andrew was national news. FBI's 10 most wanted, every station, every newspaper, but he still managed to slip into Miami and vanish for nearly 2 months. Andrew lived surprisingly close to Versace's home during this time, surviving off stolen IDs, squatting in empty apartments, and drifting through clubs and bars like a ghost. He was watching the world search for him while pretending he was invisible. Then came the moment he decided would make him unforgettable. On July 15, 1997, fashion icon Gianni Versace walked home from a morning trip out. Andrew was waiting near the steps. 2 shots, fast and cold. He used the same gun from the earlier murders. The killing wasn't just violent, it was symbolic. Versace represented everything Andrew wanted: fame, beauty, power, admiration. Did they ever meet? Officially no, but Andrew told people years earlier that he'd met Versace at a club in San Francisco. Nobody knows if that was true or another invention, but Andrew believed in his delusions more than reality. After the murder, he hid on a houseboat for 8 days, watching the news, seeing his face everywhere, knowing the chase was closing in. On July 23rd, he ended it with the same gun he used to destroy 5 lives. No note, no explanation, no final message. The truth is simple. Andrew Cunanan was a man built on lies, fueled by ego collapsing under the weight of his own fantasies. And when his world fell apart, he dragged others with him. His crimes weren't random. They were the final act of a man trying to control a life that had slipped away long before.